wanted to try and find a way to keep costs down.
Sure.
So we actually credentialed with the insurance companies as a general medicine practice, although we offer all of these urgent care services so that it would be cheaper for people.
Welcome back to Brew Talks. I'm Steve Stroud. I'm president and CEO of Roswell, Inc. We're the economic development organization in the city of Roswell. And today, I am so proud to have the two guests that we have. A board member, Stacy Lathrop, and Luke, welcome. And SmartMED. We're here today to talk about SmartMED. What a great asset to our community. Thank you for your investment.
Thank you for having us.
Oh.
And thank you for those kind words as well.
No, it's exciting. I mean, what a story, and you've got to tell the story, because I think what you all have done is exactly what we try to do with so many different businesses. You know, we've interviewed so many new businesses, but also businesses that have been here 40 years, that have just experienced what you have, and that not only is this a community that people live in, but the businesses are its own community that work together. And I think you guys are a great testament to what that looks like. So tell us about SmartMED.
Well, you know, you were asking where we came from. So I think where I'll start is how we started, which was a couple of years ago. We actually probably more like 4 years ago, when at the height of COVID, we had a COVID testing site. And we were talking a lot about the importance of the community and really supporting each other and helping us get where we want to be.
Roswell residents.
Yes.
Let's throw that in.
I will say the Roswell residents helped us to pull together and find a location for a COVID testing site. So for about 18 months, we tested more than 20,000 people during the height of COVID in a drive-through setting in the church parking lot of Fellowship Bible Church. And towards the end of that, Luke and I started really thinking, you know, what if we did something completely different? What if we turned traditional healthcare up on its head and tried to give patients the experience that they've been wanting, but that traditional healthcare can't provide right now? And so we, off of the back of the COVID testing, we decided to open a full drive-through medical practice. And that is how SmartMED came to be.
And seeing our patients in line, talking to them, and then for me also seeing them in the ER, patients would be, complaining that they couldn't get in to see their primary care doc for 8 months, or they went to an urgent care and they were in an urgent care for 3 hours, just waiting on stuff. And so, knowing what we could do with COVID testing, we realized like there's got to be a better way that we can get people convenient care and quality care without waiting 8 months or 4 hours. I mean, there's got to be a better way. So that's where we come up with the concept.
Yeah, you got to have a happy medium in there someplace, right?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, people need care and they should be able to get quality care.
Well, and I think one of the unique things when we connected for the first time, it was during that period of what's the next steps, right?
Right.
We've been doing this. We've been providing this service to the community. I remember the conversation like it was yesterday, right? And it's interesting because one of the things that struck at my heart when you started talking about what you were doing was the people that you actually were serving were seniors, were people with special needs, children that were not able to get out of the car on a regular basis or go sit in somebody's lobby. And that has resonated in my head over and over and over. And it's like, this is so simple. Why hasn't it been tackled before, right?
We hear that so often.
Amazing.
Now. When people are driving through, they're like, God, this is genius, but why hasn't it been done before?
Right.
And it's because prior to COVID, who would have ever thought about a doctor's appointment while you're sitting in the vehicle?
Right.
Can you actually be seen for these things and evaluated properly and diagnosed and treated on site from the comfort of your car? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, and it usually starts with their kids. Family will bring their kids in for an ear infection or a sore throat, and then maybe themselves for something if they're sick. And then, a couple months later, like, Grandpa has something going on, so they bring the whole family through.
And everybody comes through. Well, and another thing that I think is very unique that you all should be credited for is the fact that you all are doctors, right? And you're locally and you're here in the community, and people, they can touch you, right?
Yeah.
I think that's always, sometimes the enigma of a doc in a box is, who are we going to see, and are they
Right.
going to be there next week?
Yeah.
And who are we sharing? And you guys are here,
Yeah,
right?
we're
and
here,
I think
we're
that's
there.
part of the
Yeah, we come to them.
yeah.
And I think that's when one of the things that I love most is that we really get to know the whole family, and they
Right.
get to know us. They know exactly what faces they're going to see every time when they pull up for that medical care, and it's always the same ones. And everyone has become like family and friends at this point. I mean,
Sure.
it's so many people in the Roswell community are fortunately using us for their urgent care, their primary care, their pediatrician, just because they can get in and out so quickly, and they know that they can always reach
amazing.
out to us for
Well,
help.
and you guys, the way I understand it, you guys can do the prescription, send it to Walgreens, send it down to CVS
Oh, yeah.
right then, which is great because then they don't have to think through it.
Right.
I mean, it just, by the time, I heard the story the other day, and somebody had literally gone through the line, got tested or checked. They needed some antibiotics. Boom, they went and they picked up the antibiotics. I mean, it was like, that's a great story to tell because that doesn't always happen.
Yeah, with e-prescriptions, sometimes they'll even get the text on their way home, like Walgreens has your prescription ready. So there they go.
That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
from the time they pull up to us, and they can come at any point in time. There's no appointments. It's like Chick-fil-A, but for medical care.
Right.
From the time
and you're
they-
buying Chick-fil-A, which is
Yeah.
not a bad
well,
thing.
I love that. A little bit harsh on our waistline because we've been eating a ton of Chick-fil-A lately. But yes, but by the time they pull up, from the time they pull up, I should say, to the time they leave with us, it should be about 5 minutes. And so it's pretty incredible how the whole process of what a patient would normally go through of trying to get the appointment, then trying to find the time, then get to the doctor, then the waiting room, and et cetera, et cetera. By the time someone pulls up, sees the doctor, gets a prescription, and is on the way home, can be 15 minutes in total.
See, and that's amazing. So you guys, tell us a little bit about your background because I think that to me adds credibility to the organization, obviously, but it also is reassuring when you know what you have done and what you do.
Yeah, so we definitely came from different backgrounds, and
You
I
can go
think
first.
yeah. So I'm an ER doc, and I've been practicing for 18 years now. So that kind of gave me some perspective as to how can you do this and what can be done safely from a car. So someone with complex medical issues, sometimes there's not much we can do, so we have to refer them on. But I know that there are a lot of things that can safely be taken care of from the car. Sometimes we need to bring them in, to see them and evaluate them. But and then we did COVID testing, and then this kind of came out of that.
Yeah, and then my background is I was just in a corporate environment for 17 or 18 years, and really have always been very passionate about trying to find a way that we can serve other people.
Sure.
And as we have a very young family, we have a 4 and a 5-year-old, and out of COVID, we started thinking, how could we continue? It was so heartwarming to be able to take care of people. And I thought I wanted to get involved, but I didn't know how.
Right.
What could we do next? So we thought of the concept for SmartMED Drive Thru. And then fortunately, with my background, we were kind of able to move forward with all of what was needed to build a startup on the operations side.
So talk to me about testing. I know that you can do quite a bit
Yeah.
at your own facility.
Yes.
Do you do blood work and all of that there?
We don't do blood work. We can do finger sticks.
Okay.
Blood work requires a higher complexity of lab,
Right.
but we can do PCR testing, so respiratory testing. We can check for mono, strep throat. We have PCR machines, same quality they use at the hospital. I wanted to make sure that we have the same quality testing, the same sensitivity and specificity so that we can provide that for our patients. So we can check for most upper respiratory infections, and we can treat most conditions.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we did in the beginning was we surveyed the Roswell community to find out what is it that's missing out of your traditional healthcare experience. One of the things that they said was they didn't feel like they were getting accurate and fast test results. And so we went and invested in hospital-grade equipment. So we're using a Cepheid machine so we can do all of our molecular tests on site instead of sending these samples out, having them potentially be lost, having the sample, not be a good sample and then having to swab someone again. We were able to mitigate all of that by bringing it in-house.
Which obviously is better for the patient.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're able to turn a result in an hour.
That's amazing.
So,
Yeah. and
Now-
nothing's ever lost. Like we know.
You
this
know,
is
you're
the
tracking
test,
it.
yes,
Yeah, it's in your
It's
possession.
all ours.
yes, the whole time.
So COVID obviously was the beginning of this. You've been through another round of it, multiple
Yeah.
rounds of it, and we probably will have it for the unforeseeable future in some shape, way, or form, right? But you test for everything, right?
So yeah, I didn't answer your question.
No,
sorry.
no,
So,
sorry. That's even better.
COVID, flu A, flu B, RSV, strep, mono. We do blood sugar checks. But as far as upper respiratory, that's most of what we can check for. So, RSV, I usually think of more of like the young kids that come in.
Sure.
Sometimes with low sats, really wheezy, things like that. But we can check for all that and then, get them treated if they need that. We can do steroids if needed. So we can handle all that.
And then if someone does need, you mentioned this before, but if someone does need to be brought in for any type of what you would normally consider as an urgent care procedure, like laceration repair, stitches, abscess drainage, we can do all of that inside as well.
Right.
So we do have exam rooms on the inside if you need to come
you
in.
need.
It's just that 99% of the time,
They
people
don't
don't
need
want to
to.
get out of the car. There's no reason to get out of the car.
Well-
It's fast, it's convenient, and it's safe.
Well,
You're not sitting with a bunch of other germs.
That's a good, yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know how many times I took my kids to the pediatrician and I was in the well room and I'm thinking, that wall is not that far away. And, I was a nervous Nelly. I was going to come out
Yeah.
sick
Yeah,
because I already had a sick one, maybe, or vice versa. I had a
Right.
healthy one. I was going to walk out with a sick one. So,
Yep.
that just staying in your own environment, listening to your own music, relaxing a little bit because I don't know, most people I know my blood pressure goes up every time I go
Yeah.
to the doctor, even if I'm just taking somebody.
Well, the reason why it probably goes up is because I feel like you're just sitting there in some circumstances waiting for them to call you back, and you're just getting more and more furious as you're
Yeah.
sitting waiting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we have moms and dads on work calls
Yeah.
or just watching a sitcom or whatever on their phone. So
Isn't that
it's-
amazing?
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
So services, you all would have other services. One thing that, I need to bring up being a former rehabbed, I'll call him girls lacrosse coach, is physicals. So
Yes,
you all
yep.
will do the physicals.
Yep, about 9 months out of the year, when it's not flu season, we'll do full camp physicals, summer physicals, the sports physicals for kids.
Yeah, one young girl needed clearance for a ballet camp in Cincinnati or something. So yeah, I mean, we can do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they'll come in for that, right?
Yeah, they just come in and they come in, we get it done in about 10 minutes and they head right out the door.
And you take most of all the major insurance?
We do for our urgent care side. Now,
Right.
physicals is something different. They
Yes,
actually, the
100%,
insurance
yeah.
companies won't cover them,
No.
so it's self-pay.
We're
But-
used to that.
But yeah, on the actual medical care side, yes,
Yes.
we're in network with most commercial insurances, and so that's United, Cigna, Humana,
All the
Aetna,
big ones. Yeah.
et cetera. All the big ones: Blue Cross Blue Shield, Medicare, Medicaid.
Again, making it easier
Yes.
to get in and out.
Well, it's just become ridiculous. The cost of healthcare is just ridiculous, and so we wanted to try and find a way to keep costs down.
Sure.
So we actually credentialed with the insurance companies as a general medicine practice, although we offer all of these urgent care services so that it would be cheaper for people.
So your hours fluctuate only in the season, right? Now,
Correct.
are we technically in flu season?
Not yet.
Not yet.
But
And
it's,
we've seen a couple flu patients.
I
So we're
know.
not there quite
We're
yet.
we're saying November, but it could change at any time.
Yeah, so we've decided to extend our hours, especially the moms are asking for it. Starting in November, we'll be extending our hours until 5 o'clock at night, Monday through Friday. And
Makes
then
sense.
on Saturdays, we'll finally give them those Saturday hours from 9 to 12 p.m.
9 to 12.
Yeah,
And-
12.
Sorry, Steve. One thing I was going to say is that something we talked about how we started this business and kind of how it evolved. So one thing that Stacy and I don't think really had any way to anticipate is just the community involvement here. So, the people have been so great to us. I mean, just starting with Roswell Inc., but then even the other small business owners and just the families, the people in general. Then something that Stacy and I love that again we had no way to anticipate is that what we can do for the community. So We had a young girl come in who had her Make-A-Wish evening at SmartMED.
Oh,
now,
wow.
she just used it for, I can let you talk more about that, but we just let them use our facility. But Stacy had an AI teaching session
like a
for
ChatGPT
women.
session. We love opening our space up
You
for
do.
the community.
I mean, you host
So
our
we've
Coffee
had-
Connect, so we
Oh,
appreciate that. Yeah.
We've done blood drives. I think it's
We
going to
have
be
a-
really fun next month. I feel like we're going to have a brownie troop. I think there's like 3 or 4 brownie troops coming in to do first aid training.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
And everything we do on site obviously is free of charge. I mean, we just want to give back to this
You've got
community.
great space for that.
Yes. This community has just given us so much.
Tons of parking, easy
Yeah.
access, and when you're done, you can run through Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A's right there.
Which is-
Starbucks is across the street. So
Oh my gosh, it is so amazing. They were so nice to us the other day. They dropped off 250 cards so that we can give out treats to our little patients. So they'll be able
No
to
way.
get brownies, cookies, and ice cream over at Chick-fil-A as soon as they leave.
You gotta love
On
it.
Mr. On Jim Waddell.
Jim is a jewel.
Jim
Yes.
is amazing.
I know.
We love having him right next to us.
We always say Chick-fil-A is like #1 in our hearts.
yeah.
Yes.
We travel all over the world, but when there's not a Chick-fil-A in the state, we start having anxiety.
I know. When we built SmartMed, we started thinking about who is it that we wanted to emulate. We wanted to be Chick-fil-A, but for medical care.
That's fantastic. Well, y'all have done a great job with what you're doing. We hope nothing but the best as you expand. Having that personalized touch for here in Roswell means so much. On a personal note, you took care of my daughter. We were out of town. She's 20 years old, but she swears by you. And now she doesn't even want to go back to her regular doctor. So it makes a difference as a parent, right, to know that we could text you and you would take care of it, and to know that somebody had my best interests of, our daughter. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you for trusting us.
Oh, we
And we're
do,
happy to help.
100%. And just know, from Andy and I and the Roswell Inc., the Visit Roswell team, we're here to make sure, because a healthy community and a safe community is a vibrant community. And so we appreciate what you do to make that happen. So as we always say, it's a great day to do business in Roswell. And cheers.
Sure is.
Thanks.
Cheers.